أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Azra Hussain for Radio Masumeen. I hope all of you are doing well, insh'allah, and that you are in good health and happiness. Ilahi Ameen. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Now, I just wanted to let you know that I will be narrating a new book with different volume and different parts to it. So I'll be doing two parallel videos at the same time for Radio Masumeen, inshallah. So my book is about, I'm sure you must have heard it, it's Tears and Tributes by the author Zakir. It's an old book, it's been coming down from generations in my family. We've been reading it. It used to be called Tears, and now it's called Tears and Tributes. And I will be also posting the cover of it on my video, so you will see what it is. It's a really good book. It's a must-have book for everybody that wants to know about the tragedy of Karbala and how it happened, and everything about it, inshallah. So I hope that you do buy this book, and I think it will be a good addition to have in your library for your kids and your family and everything. It's really good. I'm going to be narrating it because it's it really in detail it talks about the tragedy in English. So the book is about 141 pages, and the typeset is a little bit small, so it may take me a long time for me to finish this book, but I'm going to continue, inshallah, with small portions, and whoever likes to listen to the narrations, you would really like to hear it. So, and whoever doesn't like to read, this is a good way to know about what happened in Karbala. And it's also good for non-Muslims who really don't know much about the tragedy of Karbala. So anyway, before I begin that, I would like to uh, always mention a couple of hadiths that I liked, that I would share it with you. And it's regarding parents and kids and all. It's so I thought I would mention it, and it's regarding salat as well. I know in my last video we are discussing about salat, so this is a good one to actually remember, inshallah. So here it is. This is from the reference book of Greater Sins, and this one I really liked. I like all the sayings, but sometimes there are certain sayings that hit your heart and you just want to like grab it. This is really good. I think everyone should know. Prayer is not accepted. Why? Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam said, Allah will not accept the namaz, which is the salat, of a person who stares angrily at his parents, even though they, the parents, may be unjust. Now, this is something really important for us to know. Even a little glance, that you stare at your parents, it's not accepted by Allah. So, your salat may not be accepted. So, this is really important that we should remember that. Even little small gestures like that. The second one I would like to read is in regards to love and affection for your children. Both of them are. The Holy Prophet ﷺ said, "Be affectionate to your children and have mercy upon them. When you promise them something, fulfill your promise, because the children repose hope only in thy parents. When a promise is not fulfilled, it causes dissatisfaction and strains relationships. Certainly Allah is most wrathful when the women and children are disheartened." So let me read that last sentence. Certainly Allah is most wrathful when the women and children are disheartened. Now that doesn't mean that if a woman is, she has done something wrong, or a child has done something, you should not say. But the main point is not to hurt them unjustly, and not to hurt them at all. You should be kindly with them. You should be really nice with them. So this is, or respect them completely, which is these days it's not like that. So that's one thing I thought I would share it with you. And then I have another one which is really good, which makes me so happy because um, if you're a mother or a father and you've got kids, and even if you don't have kids, when you kiss a child, this is what Rasulullah says. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, has told that when a person kisses his child, a good deed is recorded in his Nema Amal, scroll of deeds. That's what it means. So, Nema Amal is scroll of deeds. So, a good deed is recorded when you kiss your child. I think he's really meaning your child. I'm not sure about if he means other child that you kiss, but I do think that would also, but I cannot say with my say. I have to research on that to really tell you that if you kiss someone else's child, is that going to be a good deed as well? I need to research on that. But I'm only going to talk about this particular hadith, which it says, if one kisses his child, a good deed is recorded in his scroll of deeds. I think that is so cool. When I found this out, uh, I was kissing my sons a lot, and I said, every time I kiss you, I'm going to have a good deed, inshallah. So that's a good thought for us to remember, and it's a happy, happy thought. So I think if all of you that have kids do go kiss your kids at this point, it will be really nice, and you probably have good deeds recorded in your scroll of deeds, inshallah. So now I'm going to now I've done with the hadiths, which I love hadiths. I think they're so good to your soul. They're so peaceful for you. They really enlighten you every day. So it's really good to read hadiths and ponder upon and ask if you don't know what it means. Ask somebody that has knowledge about it. It's really good. So now I'm going to start reading the tears and tributes. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the book. Like I said, it's 141 pages, small typeset, and it's got 12 contents, 12 chapters for it. Let me read you the chapters so you kind of get an idea what the book is talking about. The first chapter is The Betrayal in Kufa. Second chapter is 54 Friends. Third chapter, Akbar the Hashemite Prince. Fourth chapter, The Youths in Karbala. Fifth chapter, Abbas the Standard Bearer of Hussein. Sixth chapter, From Cradle to the Grave. Seventh chapter, The Supreme Sacrifice. Eighth chapter, The Night of Tragedy. Ninth chapter, The Captive's Caravan. 10th chapter, The Death in Prison. 11th chapter, The Ordeals in Damascus. And 12th chapter, Journey's End. So it's 12 chapters. I hope I read them right. So inshallah, these are the chapters you should look forward to. I think you will really like it. So now I'm going to start, inshallah, from the introduction, because I do like the introduction. It does have, history, which is good. And this book, they have also, he has also given references where he got all these hadiths or the narration. So you will also see that in here, which is really good. I like that about this book. Um, uh, in the beginning, he has done that in the introduction, and I think when I get to the preface, I'll know more about the book. So let's just start off with the introduction. So I'm going to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Sheikh Saduq, a famous Shia scholar, reports in his famous work Amali on the birth of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. The neighbor of Ayam reported to the Prophet of Islam that she had been crying throughout the small hours of the previous night. The Prophet sent for her and inquired about the reason of her distress. She said she had seen an upsetting dream. She dreamt that the piece of flesh had fallen apart from the Prophet's body and descended in her house. "Do not be unsettled," said the Prophet. "A son will be born of my daughter Fatima alayhi salam, and you will be his nurse. No doubt Hussein is part of me." Hussein, son of Ali ibn Abi Talib, and Fatima, daughter of the Prophet of Islam, was born in Medina on Thursday, the 3rd of Shaban, in 3 AH. The Prophet named him Hussein, whispered Azra in his right ear, and Iqama in his left. On the 7th day, the Prophet got the child's head shaved, aqiqah, which is what it's called, and slaughtered a sheep. Then he told Fatima to weigh the hair and give away equivalent weight of silver in alms, to give it to the poor, and give the leg part of the sheep to the nurse, he ordered. Now this is what we have to do in Islam when we have a child, and it is necessary to do that. And also I want to point out the you know the slaughtering of the sheep, which is one of our Eids, which is Eid al-Adha that we do. Why we do it, I'm sure most of you know, but if some of you don't know about it, the reason why we do it is because our prophet, one of our prophets, Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, Abraham to many, had a dream. This is he. Let me read this to you, and then you'll understand. Um, as dreams used to constitute one of the mediums of spiritual communion between God and his prophets, Hazrat Ibrahim took his dream as the command of his Lord and prepared himself to fulfill it, and decided upon the physical slaughter of his son. So he said to his son, "O my son, O my son, surely I have seen a dream that I am sacrificing you. Consider that what you see. What is your opinion?" He said, "O my father, do what you are commanded. If Allah pleases you, will find me among the patient ones." This is Surah Safat, verse 102. Having heard it, Hazrat Ibrahim took a knife and carried Ismail to the place called Mina. So when they both submitted, prepared for sacrifice, he, father, threw his son down upon his forehead. Surah Safat, verse 103. Hazrat Ibrahim then moved the knife across Ismail's neck. At that moment, Angel Gabriel to many, replaced Ismail with a sheep, whereupon God said, "O Ibrahim, you have indeed materialized your dream. Surely thus we do reward the doers of good. Most surely this is the manifest trial, and we ransomed him with a great sacrifice, and we praised him among the later generation." Surah Safat, verses 104 to 108. So Hazrat Ibrahim, when Hazrat Ibrahim did this, the slaughtering of the sheep, then after that, Hazrat Ismail, when he was trying to slaughter Hazrat Ismail, it became a sheep. So that's why we celebrate Eid al-Adha, and that's also when the kid is born, when a child is born to parents, they do this for their protection. So that is one thing that we must remember. And also, this is really important that we must remember. The most commentators, which is Mufassirin, had told the view and real interpretation of the term Zibh Azim, which means centers around the person of Imam Hussein. So the sacrifice that didn't happen to Hazrat Ismail, it happened to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So this is point, you must remember this. So So the author writes, the great sacrifice of Hazrat Ismail found its physical conclusion in martyrdom of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The same interpretation is confirmed by the verdict of our Imams in respect of Zibh Azim. This very beautifully constitutes the theme of following the couplet of Allama Iqbal. He says, it is not strange that while Muslims regard the observance of the slaughter of sheep, rather secondary sacrifice, as one of the religious obligations every year, so some people say it's bid'at, but but uh, on the occasion of Imam Hussein alayhi salam's martyrdom, which stands as the real picture of the term of Zibh Azim. So this is what we believe. As most scholars differ on this, but this is the Shia thought of the school of thought. So now I'm going to uh, continue reading again. Ibn Sa'ad in the Tabaqat has observed that names Hassan and Hussein were unknown in the pre-Islamic days. He reports this tradition from the Prophet. The names Hassan and Hussein belong to the people of paradise. The Arabs in pre-Islamic era did not keep these names. It must be noted, moreover, that the names Muhammad and Ali were also unknown before the advent of Islam. Hussein very much resembled his grandfather, the Prophet, in appearance. So, you resemble my father, O little one, and not your father, Fatima used to say lovingly. He was put to the care of his grandmother, Salama, whose love and affection for Hussein is well known. She lived long enough to witness Hussein depart from Medina to Iraq, and to hear the sad tidings of his martyrdom. Hussein was loved by all, just as any younger member of a family would be. Some historians, from the various incidents, report about the affection and love shown by the Prophet for the Hussein, have concluded that he preferred Hussein to Hassan. That is not true. In fact, Hassan and Hussein have been mentioned together in all relevant traditions. These reports of the Prophet's abounding love for the children of Fatima may be considered a natural paternal instinct. However, since the Prophet was held in high esteem by his companions, and every act and word of his was regarded with absolute reverence, the care and tenderness lavished upon Hassan and Hussein was taken as a hint that the Prophet wanted them also to love and respect the children. In fact, the Prophet made this explicit every time. Once when the Prophet was speaking to the believers, the little boys appeared in their red attire. Approaching the grandfather, they stumbled and fell. The Prophet came down from the pulpit, lifted them up, and said, God has truly said that your wealth and your children are a test. I saw these little ones stumble and fall, and my patience was lost. So, on another occasion, the Prophet said, O Allah, I love them both, and so do you. O Allah, bless those who love them with your mercy. Abdullah ibn Masud says that once while the Prophet was prostrating in his prayers, the two little boys playing sat on his back. The companions tried to prevent them. After the prayers, the Prophet said, Leave them, my father be for them and my mother. He who loves me loves them both. Hussein's childhood coincides with the heyday of Islam. The period of intensified persecution in Mecca was over, and now Muslims were in full vigor and activity. The people of Medina had extended a warm reception to the Prophet and his mission, and they stood by him faithfully, beset with a situation which was at times cordial and peaceful, and at times subjected to uprising, opposition, and intrusion from Meccans. Hussein observed how his father and grandfather were painstakingly fighting to protect and preserve the word of Allah. He knew of the day when a peace treaty was signed, and of the day when finally Mecca was conquered. That Hussein observed and understood all these developments, identified himself with the personality of his grandfather in all spheres, is very much evidenced by his statements and conduct in the later part of his life. Perhaps the most memorable event of his childhood is his participation in Mubahala. This was in 10 AH, when he was only 7. A deputation of 60 Christians of Najran came to the Prophet to discuss the personality of Jesus. The Holy Prophet told them not to defy Jesus as God for his son, or his son, for he was only a mortal. Now let me stop here. Now even Rasulullah said, Holy Prophet said that he is immortal and all the prophets are mortals, but they're just for in the belief of Islam they're lights of God. So Jesus is one of our Hazrat Isa, which we say his name this way, is one of our main prophets. We've got five main prophets. They're called Ulul Azam prophets. And if many non-Muslims don't know this, um, 5 Ulul Azam prophets are Hazrat Nuh, which is Noah alayhi salam, Hazrat Abraham alayhi salam, Hazrat Musa, which is Moses alayhi salam, Hazrat Isa, which is Jesus alayhi salam, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So these are our main prophets to us, and Rasulullah was the last and the greatest prophet that we believe, and this is our belief in Islam. So all of them were mortals born on earth with the knowledge and light of God. So this is our belief. So I just wanted to portray that, explain that to people that don't know what we believe. And as I said in my last video, that Rasulullah was created by the Nur of God in the beginning. This was in my other volume, so if you want to hear that, you can listen to that and learn about that if you don't know about it. So that I'm also completing the other volume, so it's also going to take some time, but if you want to hear the narration, you're welcome to. So anyway, that is what I wanted to explain. So this is what happened at the time of Mubahala, and when the Christians came to ask about what Rasulullah believed in, what they wanted to say. So what Rasulullah said after that was, the Holy Prophet told them not to defy Jesus as God or his son, for he was only a mortal. The Christians asked the Prophet to name the father of Jesus, thereby suggesting that since Jesus was born to Virgin Mary, the Prophet would accept God himself as being the father of Jesus. But the Prophet, in reply to this, the following verse was revealed. He said that verily similitude, this is the following verse was revealed in, verily similitude of Jesus with God is as the similitude of Adam. He created him out of dust and said he unto him be, and he became. Now this is our belief in Islam. The Christians had no answer to this, but they refused to concede. They didn't. So the Prophet then called them to Mubahala, which means a spiritual confrontation where each side invokes the curse of God upon the liar. The Christians agreed to this. The shelter was erected on an open place, and Prophet proceeded with Hassan and Hussein by his sides, Fatima immediately behind him, followed by Ali ibn Abi Talib. The Christians appeared with their holy men, women and children, At that appointed hour the head monk of the Christians exclaimed, "By God, I see the faces which are capable of moving mountains, if they are raised in prayers." He beseeched the Prophet to abandon the idea of Mubahala, and requested him to allow the Christians to follow their faith against payment of jizya, a protection tax. One can imagine the impact of this unique triumph of Islam on the tender mind of Hussein. This event took place in the 10th year of Hijrah, a year before the Prophet died. There were many companions around the Muslim society, and by now being fully organized, the selection of his own inmates alone for the confrontation of so great consequence was noteworthy implication. The seriousness of solemnity of the occasion demanded absolute purity. Hussein, therefore, is one of the five pure ones accepted by all Muslim scholars and jurists. The Prophet in 11 AH. The Prophet died in 11 AH, when Hassan and Hussein had not even completed their first decade of life. 95 days later, they were bereaved of their mother Fatima, and fate now had entrusted them to the sole care of their father Ali ibn Abi Talib, the matchless hero of Islam. Now, I'm going to end here in this brief introduction of this book, and then I'm going to continue later on my next tape. So I think you have, inshallah, got the idea of what the difference between our faiths are, what we believe. But we do believe in Jesus and Moses and Ibrahim and Noah, as you do, and many that are non-Muslims, and we do believe that at the end Jesus will come, and with our Messiah, with our Imam, last Imam, Imam is Zamana, Mahdi alayhi salam. So Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. And so this is what our belief is, which in common ground we do believe in Jesus and we believe in Moses. So we must think about this when we have an issue in regards to Muslims. When you don't know the Islamic faith, you must learn about it to actually understand it, and not just Islamic, any other faiths. When you come to a common ground, that's where you have peace. And you know, in the later part of the the journey of Imam Hussein, there's so many Christians that came to help Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his family. Even at the time of the battle, there was a Christian, and then at the end, there was a Christian that was helping the captive caravan. So it's really a great thing for all of us to learn about each other and find out the goodness about it, and not have negativity and hate. So inshallah, I will end with this, and inshallah next time I will continue reading this whole book, slowly and surely, and hopefully next time I will do a little bit smaller. This is my first video on this volume, so it's a little bit bigger, but inshallah next time I'll try to be concise. I know most of you only have 15 minutes sometimes to listen, so sorry about that. I'll try my best, inshallah. So until next time, inshallah, indeed, I hope that you all have a great morning or afternoon or evening, inshallah, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May Allah bless you all indeed.